This conference will now be recorded.
I welcome everyone to the next session of Industrial Microbiology, Lecture 4. In today's session, we will be discussing about the preservation of microorganism. In the previous session, we have discussed about the various steps involved in the fermentation technology, types of fermenters, and the main um, steps and main objects which are required to build a fermenter. In this session, we will be discussing about the preservation techniques. First of all, why the preservation is required? There are various reasons for the preservation of microorganisms. Because in the previous session, as I have discussed, isolation is a very huge process and it is a time consuming one. When the fermentation process, when we require to start immediately and uh, the time required for obtaining the product in fermentation technology will be reduced by preservation of the microorganism. Isolation is a slow and time taking process. For this reason, once after the isolation of the organisms are preserved for further use. And this preserving of microorganisms may increase the viability and they keep the cultures contamination free. Contamination free means no other organism is present except the required one. That means we can consider this one as a pure culture. Pure cultures are generally referred to as contamination free. That means only a single type of microorganism which we required are present in the given culture. And the preservation is mainly done to prevent the genetic changes. Because when we have for example, consider an E. coli organism. E. coli we have isolated from any of the sample like soil or food or water. Generally, E. coli is found in the water or from our body secretions like in we can generally find E. coli in our body, mostly in the large intestine portions where our excretion process will be more and the more amount of huge amount of microorganisms are generally present there, and from there we can isolate an E. coli organism and we generally place there in the laboratory itself. But we have used one type of strain for fermentation technology, but after some days or after some time when we require the product which is obtained from the E. coli again, we have to start the process from the isolation only, because we haven't stored or we haven't preserved this E. coli which we have performed in the previous fermentation technology. So for again for obtaining the material or organism which we have used in the previous fermentation process, we need to know the genetic uh, what we say genetic study. We have to be very perfect in the genetic study of that particular type of E. coli strain. But once we preserve this E. coli strain, it will be easy for us for the further fermentation processes. In this way, preservation of microorganism is an essential technique in the fermentation technology. It also reduces the time which is required for the isolation, and it reduces the money requirement, like because during the isolation processes there are some costliest machines we use, like in the previous session as I have mentioned, micro manipulator method. It is a high costly equipment and we cannot always use that machine for the isolation process. So once we come to know the isolated microorganism is required for one particular product which is produced with the fermentation, we need to preserve that microorganism. And there are different methods in the preservation of microorganism, and the best methods I have mentioned, those are subculturing, storage in sterile soil. Soil is also used for the preservation of microorganism. storage at low temperatures. We generally use this one in our regular college laboratories or school laboratories. Preservation by overlaying with mineral oil, and freeze drying or lyophilization, and cryopreservation technique. This is also an important technique which is used for preservation of microorganisms for longer duration. First of all, we go into the subculturing technique. Subculturing means culturing the same organism or colonies again. We can consider this one as continuous fermentation, media and continuous fermentation, because in continuous fermentation media is added at a particular time intervals. That means we add the media to the fermenter based on the outflow of the medium. Similarly, subculturing is done at particular time intervals where the generation has been changed. That means this technique is done at repeated time intervals, and this subculturing may vary from species to species, and the temperature and media that we use for the subculturing should reduce the growth time. That means when the growth time increases, that means rapid growth occurs in a microorganism, it will be a crowded plate one. We can consider this one as in batch culture we add microorganisms only one time. Why we do not add a microorganism during the fermentation technology? Because microorganism has the ability to replicate itself, and we need not provide any suggestions, or we do not provide any insist we do not insist any microorganism to replicate. Once it acquires its own food material, and when it acquires its own genetic stability, it starts replicating itself. There is the no use of telling the microorganism, yeah, you should replicate now, and we do not insist any microorganism. So similarly, we should reduce the growth time. When the growth time is very less, that means it is 20 or 30 minutes, the microorganism grows very rapidly, and we generally subculture in on small petri plates, or sometime in conical flasks or test tubes based on our inoculum. Even though inoculum added is a very little amount, as the microorganisms have the ability to replicate faster, it may occupy the complete petri plate or test tube or any conical flask like that. Once the nutrients get depleted, microorganisms start dying, and it may contaminate the other microorganisms also. It may lead to deprivation of nutrients, and many organisms may die. In that case, when we have a longer growth period, that means slow growth should occur in a particular microorganism. That means it should have a larger lag phase. Lag phase should be more than the log phase, because we should reduce the replication time. For reducing the replication time, the stage which we obtain before the replication, that is log phase, is known as lag phase. We should increase the lag phase time duration. In that case, when we increase the lag phase time duration, we can find slow growth rate of microorganisms, because there the nutrients which we provide are slowly uptaken by the microorganisms. So this will be very useful for the very useful for further processes, because once immediately when the microorganisms enter the log phase, replication rate will be more, and number of microorganisms will also increase. So we should subculture the microorganism before they enter the log phase, or immediately after entering the log phase. And this subculturing is mainly utilized for the heterotrophs, because they remain viable for longer duration. And there are also many disadvantages for this technique, because it may have high level risk of contamination, because during the subculturing technique we need to take care about the laminar airflow and the place where incubation takes place, and the we should ensure that only the required microorganism in the specific microorganism is the subcultured. Even a small mistake may create complete contamination, and it may cause damage to our microorganism which we are being preserving for the longer duration. And the changes in the genetic level and biochemical level will also be huge, because genetic changes and biochemical changes will occur in the initial stages of subculturing only. We need to ensure that the organism which we are preserving using subculturing technique is having correct genetic stability and perfect biochemical stability. I have told you what are biochemical characteristics means. Biochemical characteristics are the ones which where the particular reaction it shows. For example, E. coli, it shows positive for indole reaction, negative for methyl red test, positive for VP test. Like that, a particular strain of a particular species of an organism will have some specific biochemical characteristics, and that particular strain we should ensure that it is being carried away during the complete subculturing process. Next, coming to storage in sterile soil. For this technique, soil must be autoclaved twice, because we all know soil is also a great source of microorganism, and it must be autoclaved and it must be sterilized completely to remove all the organisms present in the soil. Generally, this type of preservation technique is used for preserving sporulating organisms. Generally, sporulating organisms are present in soil, and spores are formed due to the unfavorable conditions. Endospores are produced when a particular microorganisms undergoes unfavorable conditions. And the main organisms which are generally preserved using sterile soil are Fusarium and Alternaria. Fusarium and Alternaria. When After autoclaving the soil, we add 1 ml of the organism which we need to preserve into the sterile soil, and we let them grow at the room temperature. That means we let them grow means we are incubating them at room temperature for 5 to 10 days. After this 5 to 10 days, during this time, the soil contains a little amount of moisture, and this moisture is uptaken by all the organisms present in the soil. Generally we preserve fungus. That means fungus or other sporulating bacteria. Generally, bacteria are also having some spores like endospores, like that. These are generally preserved in soil, and during the initial stages where the soil contain little amount of moisture, all the organisms utilize the moisture and they go to dormant stage. We all know that spore is also a dormant stage of the microorganism, and it is formed during the unfavorable conditions. That means when lack of food is present, or when a bacteria growing in higher temperatures are taken to the lower temperatures, like psychrophilic temperatures, or when psychrophiles are taken into the higher temperatures, they generally form spores. Spores are the dormant stages of bacteria or fungi where the microorganism completely slow down their metabolic rate. That means growth occurs in the microorganism, but very slow growth rate will be there. We can compare this one as when we do not give food to a particular person continuously, but we provide food at particular time in a day only once. A person can survive like that, but he cannot be as active when he is given food daily in large quantities. There will be a difference between a person who is given food daily 3 times, and a person who is not given food and only food is given once at once in a day. The difference is due to the amount of food or the nutrient deprivation. After the microorganisms entering the dormant stage, the incubated sterile soil containing microorganisms are stored in the refrigerator. During this, using this sterile soil preservation technique, we can preserve the microorganisms around 70 to 80 years. And this is mostly used for the microorganisms which are sporulating. Sporulating microorganisms are preserved. Storage at low temperatures. We generally use this technique in our college laboratories or in our generally the labs where blood tests are done. Like that, it is a most common method of preserving microorganisms. Storage at lower temperature. For this technique, liquid nitrogen serves as a medium for storage in larger quantities. In large industries, we have discussed this preservation technique in fermentation technology. In fermentation technology is a large industrial process, and for that large industrial processes, liquid nitrogen generally serves as a medium for storing at lower temperatures, that is around 4 degrees centigrade. But this liquid nitrogen also serves as a cryoprotectant or a medium in cryopreservation technique we'll be discussing later. And for storing at lower temperatures, glycerol or dimethyl sulfoxide DMSO are generally used while storing the microorganism at lower temperature to prevent the ice crystal formation. When the microorganisms are stored at lower temperature directly, it may lead to the formation of ice crystals inside the microorganism, because microorganism is generally composed of large amount of water and other biochemical solvents. When they are freezed, it may lead to the formation of ice crystals. Crystals of ice are formed, and when ice crystals are formed inside the microorganism, it may cause the death of the organism, and the organism which we preserved we may lose the organism. That means chances of losing the microorganism which is preserved will be more when glycerol or DMSO is not added, because they prevent the microorganisms from ice crystal formation. And using this technique where preserving the microorganism at lower temperatures, we can store the microorganisms around 10 to 30 years. And this is also having a disadvantages, because toxic products may accumulate during the lower temperature storage, because when the organisms are non-sporulating and when they are stored at a very low temperature. See, when in the sporulating organism, it is a very common thing for the spores to survive under unfavorable condition, because the nature of spores is surviving under the unfavorable conditions. But non-sporulating organisms, when they are grown in the unfavorable conditions, it may produce some toxic products. And when these toxic products are released in the microorganism, it may cause damage to the cell, and sometimes it may lead to the death of the microorganism. Preservation by overlaying with mineral oil and paraffin wax. I think we have generally performed this in our college laboratories. For this technique, we use mineral oil or paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is a solid one where we autoclave it, or we generally make it as a liquid by using the hot air oven. But care must be taken while handling paraffin wax, because at particular temperature it may cause fumes immediately, and it may damage the hot air oven also. It is very harmful when it turns into gaseous state. Care must be taken while handling it. In this technique, in a test tube, we generally have a culture which is containing the organism we need to preserve. We just tilt the test tube to 45 degrees to 45 degrees angle and add mineral oil or paraffin wax in the liquid state. Immediately we turn it out to the 90, we turn it to the normal position, normal standing position as shown in the picture, and they are stored in the normal room temperature for several days. There is no subculturing required for this technique, but care must be taken while capping the test tube with a cotton plug. Complete sterile conditions we must maintain during the preservation technique. They can be stored at the room temperature after placing the cotton plug also. In this preservation technique, as the paraffin wax or mineral oil is poured on the surface of culture, it leads to the slow oxygen supply to the microorganism present inside. We all know oil is a very bad conductor of oxygen. It do not allow the oxygen to penetrate into it. This may lead to the slowing down of oxygen which is present inside the microorganism. The organism which are present inside the which are present below the paraffin wax will receive a very low amount of oxygen, and this is the best method for preserving the anaerobic microorganism, because the anaerobic microorganisms do not require air for their growth, and this is the main advantage for storing the microorganisms which are grown under anaerobic condition. And this can be a simple method, and we generally use it, and it is very cost effective also, because we do not need to spend a lot of money for buying mineral oil or other paraffin bags. It is very little in cost, and by using this technique we can store the microorganisms up to 15 years. Next, coming to freeze drying or lyophilization technique. Freeze drying, it is a technique where the microorganisms are completely dried and stored in the refrigerator. First drying process takes place, because drying means it is not the liquids are direct, the solids or the substances are directly converted into the gaseous phase. That means the sublimation process occurs in that reaction. All the liquids are removed from a frozen product via sublimation technique. We all know what sublimation means. That means converting a solid directly into gas. This is known as sublimation. And slow cooling rates are used for the lyophilization technique, because rapid cooling may result in the formation of ice crystals, and it may also damage the cells. It may cause some genetic changes sometimes when rapid cooling takes place. So we must take care that the cooling should be done at slower rates. And this freeze drying or lyophilization technique is generally performed or stored in a lyophilizer instrument, where which we can find in laboratories or in the fermentation industries. That means in the large scale industries we can find this type of lyophilizer. First of all, the suspension is placed in small vials which are at minus 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. We must note the temperature there, because storing at low temperatures is different from lyophilization and cryopreservation. Lyophilization is storing at the temperature minus 60 to 70 degrees. But when coming to the cryopreservation, which will be discussed later, there the storing temperature is around minus 196 and minus 150 degrees centigrade. And the small vials are placed in a glass tube, and it is connected to the vacuum. When the glass vials are connected to the vacuum, all the liquid in the cells are evaporated. That means they are sublimated. They are converted into the gaseous form, and the microorganisms are completely dried in position. They are completely dried. After this freeze drying technique, they are generally removed from the glass vials, and they are packaged with the asbestos, and they are stored in the lyophilizer. We can see the technique of lyophilization clearly in this picture. We can see vials containing frozen bacterial suspension, and in one glass flask we can place around 10 to 100 vials, and it is directly connected to the vacuum pump and a condenser. In the vacuum pump, we generally refer that instrument as Dewar flask, and in Dewar flask we can see dry ice and alcohol present. As I have told you, after this freeze drying technique, each glass vial is taken out and each cell is stored by using an asbestos packing, and the packing will be shown, packing will be done as shown in the second picture. This is the packing which we generally seal it. We generally seal the microorganisms or vials. In this case, we call the microorganisms as vials. These vials are packed like shown in the second picture, and they are preserved in a lyophilizer. And this is the picture of lyophilizer, and they are seen in the large industries. The main advantages of this lyophilization is it is having a longer viable duration. That means microorganisms can be viable for longer durations. That is around 30 years. We can store this one microorganism can be stored for 30 years, and very less amount of space is required for the storage. Like in subculturing, we need to continuously subculture, and when compared to the subculturing or when storing with the paraffin wax, microorganisms can be stored in very less space. That means we can store a large number of microorganisms or large number of specimens in very less space, and there will be no contamination because the vacuum pump is provided. When vacuum is provided, there will be no air present in it, and generally contamination occurs when air is present. As the vacuum is provided, there will be no contamination, and we can easily transport in small vials. When the microorganism we required, we need to specifically transport it to other laboratories or for other any purposes, or we need to provide it for the other researchers for further use. We can easily transport them because it is having a particular package. As we have seen in the previous slide, it is having a very rigid package. We can easily carry it, and there will be no leakage. Like that, we have many advantages for this technique, and generally serum, toxins and other enzymes are stored using this technique, because serum of a person is very serum is the generally a part of blood, and once this serum of a particular person where he or she is having any genetical changes can be easily recovered, or we can easily observe them when we stored and preserved this particular type of serum by using this lyophilization technique. And toxins, because toxins, why we store toxins in using a lyophilizer? When a particular disease emerges, we can use for comparing the toxin which are present in our olden days and the toxin which is produced by the disease causing in nowadays. For example, let us take COVID-19 in nowadays situation. How we came to know it is similar to the MERS and SARS, which is emerged in our previous era, by using this technique, because they have stored the toxins, or they have stored the what we call immunoglobulins, which are similar to those which are produced by COVID-19 patients now. By comparing those immunoglobulins or toxins which are produced by MERS or SARS in that era, they have compared, and now they came to an end that it is similar to MERS and SARS. So it is the main aim of lyophilization is to store the toxins and sera, and we all know why enzymes are generally used. It is the main reason why lyophilization has emerged very faster, and it is having that much of importance. Next, coming to cryopreservation, it is similar to that of the lyophilization, but main changes comes where the temperature storage. That means in cryopreservation, microorganisms are stored at minus 196 degrees centigrade in liquid nitrogen, or at minus 150 degrees centigrade in gaseous nitrogen. And generally, for preventing the ice crystal formation, dimethyl sulfoxide (DMSO) and glycerol are used. And cryopreservation is a huge technique, and it may, after for taking out the microorganisms and using it further, we may have to perform a very large process where it involves in thawing, and many steps are there after cryopreserving a particular organism. And the microorganism with the liquid nitrogen is mainly used in this cryopreservation technique. Why liquid nitrogen is used? Because it is very cost efficient, inflammable, and it is readily available everywhere. We cannot use them in the smaller industries, but it is generally used in large industries only. Cryopreservation and lyophilization are used in large industries, and it should require some type of permissions, because liquid nitrogen, though it is cost efficient and readily available, it should have some patents and we should have some permits like that. And after cryopreserving of microorganism, thawing is necessary. Thawing means immediately after taking from cryopreserving, we cannot use the microorganism directly. We need to plunge in into the warm water. We need to continuously stir the microorganisms in the warm water, and after some time, after letting them into the letting them incubate at the room temperature, after some time we can use the particular type of microorganism which is cryopreserved. But when we come to lyophilization, we can immediately use the microorganism. There is no need of thawing there. And here we can see the steps involved in the cryopreservation, where freezing, storing in liquid nitrogen, thawing, reculture, vitrification, encapsulation, dehydration, choice of materials, addition of cryoprotectants. Cryoprotectants are generally added in this cryopreservation technique, and this technique is generally used for freezing of the cell cultures and maintenance of disease-free stock. Seed bank and gene bank. Seed bank, we generally know about the artificial seeds. These artificial seeds are prepared and stored by using this cryopreservation technique only. And the gene bank, we all know what a gene bank means. And storage of rare germplasm, I have mentioned in the lyophilization, where toxins and serums are stored. The rare germplasm, for example, let us take a person who is suffering from chromosome disorder 26. I have heard a girl who is lacking a chromosome 6, where she cannot feel uh, any harm. That means she do not have thirst, she do not have appetite feeling, she cannot feel anything. Even though she has gone through a major accident, everyone in that accidents have are died, but she is the only girl who is survived in that accident. And the main reason behind her survival is her chromosome deletion number 6, I think. That is the reason we cannot find that type of a girl everywhere. That means she is very rare, and it is necessary to store that particular type of girl's germplasm and blood serum, because it may help further people who are going to where we can find them in the next generations or so. It may be useful for researchers to help that type of patients. And this is the reason why cryopreservation and lyophilizations are used. And this is the end of the session. Thank you.